We have a lot to discuss today. First of all, Dricus Du Plessis, I'm officially filing a restraining order against him. This man has got to stop talking about my body in interviews. It's starting to get a bit creepy, okay? Either way, we're going to get to that in a second. And after that, we're going to be talking about the fact that Jake Paul versus Mike Perry is going down. And this is huge for Mike Perry. Allegedly, this is now a boxing match on the 20th of July, according to people close to Jake Paul. So I'll talk about that as well. And I want to talk about Ariel in this whole UFC 303 situation, because I'm starting to think this dude's just straight yapping for relevancy, because no one else is coming out with any information about it whatsoever. The UFC's not acting like anything's going on. They're putting up promo videos for McGregor versus Chandler, and Ariel's like, I'm getting sources that the vibes aren't that positive right now, guys. I've never heard of like an official leak about a fight being the vibes aren't positive. So we're going to read what Ariel's got to say. Is he yapping? Is he telling the truth? Is he being bamboozled by Dana White and Hunter Campbell, trying to make him look like a fool during one of the biggest returns in combat sports history of UFC 303 with McGregor versus Chandler? So we're going to start with, this is where I'm filing for a restraining order against Dricus Du Plessis. He had some very nice things to say about me, but the comments on my body have got to stop. Okay? Let's let it play, though, because, Dricus, this is a guy who knows, this is a combat sports guy. He's faced off with many a gentleman in his career. Pause, no Jones. He's faced off with many an opponent in his career. This guy knows the human frame. Okay, so he's an expert on this stuff. And shout out to Fight Wave for doing this interview with Dricus. And let's see what Dricus has got to say.
And supporters, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask about this. And I know there's a certain guy, people say he must not be named in the MMA community, but I have to ask you because I know
I ain't fucking Voldemort. Like, you know what I mean? I called Jones gay and exposed Izzy for being into dogs. Yeah, these guys acting like I'm Voldemort out here. Just don't mention this guy. I don't know. But either way, all good. Shout out Fight Wave for even bringing me up in the first place.
I know he was in South Africa, and I know Cam did a podcast with him. I got to ask you, what was it like meeting the MMA guru? Because I know he's a polarizing figure, and I know that...
Dude, look, the memories come flooding back. You guys seeing this? The memories of meeting me just come flooding back onto Dricus' face, dude. Happy times. He's in training camp right now. You know what I mean? He's getting ready for a fight with Israel Adesanya. He's doing a regular interview for MMA. It's good to see the mood change when the great guru's brought up, okay? We're going to get through this and get to the real news in a second. I'm just, it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's let it play.
Rising figure, and I know there was a photo of you two, and he looked incredibly tall. I gotta ask, one, is he that tall actually? And two, what was it like meeting the guy?
Let me tell you this, I'm a fan of his
the energy. This is great. This guy is an MMA guru fan. The energy on this guy, straight into action. Bunch of boring questions before this. How's your training camp? And all of a sudden, Dricus starts. Whoa! I've got stories to tell about when MMA guru was in South Africa. Don't tell all the stories though. You know what I'm saying? Some of that goes to the grave. All right, buddy? Either way.
What was it like meeting the guy?
Let me tell you this. I'm a fan of his stuff. I've enjoyed his stuff. I'm a fan of the MMA guru. Always have been. So he calls out people, and it's really funny. And, I think he does some of the stuff. He says some of the stuff that nobody wants to. And he actually came to South Africa, and he came to our gym while we were training. And he let me know he was going to come to the gym. And when he walked into the gym, I could not believe my eyes. I promise you this. That photo, I saw the photo, might be a little bit exaggerated. He didn't do it. It was just the angle of the camera, I think. Because we
used the great Kali reveal angle on the camera. It was a little bit facing upwards, you know what I mean? And I was maybe a little forwards. You know how it goes sometimes, you know?
We were standing and the camera was pointing up. So it looked even worse. But make no mistake, the guy is at least this much taller than me. And I honestly thought that he's a short, fat man. I promise you, that's how I...
Now, listen. The compliments are great. Listen, you heard Dricus. I couldn't believe my eyes. Couldn't believe my eyes out there. He couldn't believe his eyes when I walked into the gym. Now, this is a guy who's met Sergey Pavlovich, okay? I didn't hear him say he couldn't believe his eyes at Sergey Pavlovich. I don't know about you guys. This is a guy who's met Sergey Pavlovich in person. He's been on the same card as him, and yet he couldn't believe his eyes when I came into the gym. Okay? This is insane. Now, I don't know why I give off short, fat vibes. If anything, that might be worse than actually being short and fat, to be honest with you guys. I don't know how to really take it that everyone who saw my channel saw my existence and thought this man must be short and fat. So that's interesting, but it's all good. You know, I'm glad to hear the rumors were dispelled when I entered the gym.
With a beard, I thought he was going to be a short, fat person. And when he walked into the gym, he's not fat. He's in shape. He's in.
This guy is never losing again. This is the type of denial of truth that we need in MMA. Okay? This is the level of delusion. Okay? This guy sees what he wants to see. Okay? There's no other explanation for it than that. This man's becoming the greatest of all time. 100%. There's no doubt about it now.
When he walked into the gym, he's not fat. He's in shape. He's in a good shape. He looks like an NBA player. He is. So, listen, he's not.
I ain't saying this. NBA player confirmed. I'm an NBA player. Confirmed by Dricus Du Plessis. I can't wait to start calling myself an NBA player in all my live streams. I'm sure the chat's going to enjoy that one.
Not in crazy, ripped shape, but he looks like you wouldn't walk past that guy in the street and say, that is a fat person. No ways. I was honestly surprised on how big a human he was. He's tall. He was a lot skinnier than I anticipated, than I thought. No, I was shocked. And once again, nice dude. It was really cool to have him here in the gym and having a little talk with him, and obviously him seeing what we do here. So that was really cool. And then of course we got him tickets to the local show UFC, where myself and Cameron was champion, and quite a few of them on these mats. It was the same night, so he went to the event and he enjoyed it quite a bit.
I did enjoy it, and I enjoyed watching Mark Hume win. And I don't know if this comment's going to age badly or not, because these guys probably already know the answer. I'm looking forward to him winning tough as well. So let's see if that's on the line here. But I just want to take you back to this one message.
Gym while we were training, and he let me know he was going to come
to the gym.
And
Jesus,
when he walked into the gym, I could not believe my eyes.
I could not believe my eyes. When he walked into the gym, I could not believe my eyes. This guy can't believe his eyes. Now, is it getting a bit crazy? Am I going to need to file a restraining order if this guy continues to comment on my body? Who knows? I guess we'll see over time. But right now we're on legally we're on thin ice, okay? Because I will take this legal. Stop commenting on my body every time you get the chance. I'm joking. Anyway, we'll move on. Like and subscribe. We'll get on to another topic. I'm done listening to Dricus glaze the fuck out of me. This guy is an MMA guru enjoyer and a UFC world champion. There's no fucking way he's going to lose to Adesanya. And there's no fucking way he's ever losing a fight again. End of discussion, dude. How can you deny this man any longer, dude? Everybody in MMA is scared to say my fucking name. And this guy with chest. He loves that jacket as well. It's a favorite jacket of his. With chest says, I'm an MMA guru enjoyer. At the top of the mountain, dude. You got to respect it. We move on. Now I'm done being called an NBA player and an absolute giant behemoth of a male. Mike Perry versus Jake Paul. I'd use a slur to talk about how Jake Paul's going to get done, because this brother's going to beat the shit out of Jake Paul, dude. Hey, I'm just happy to... Listen, Jake Paul, Mike Perry, I heard that Mike Tyson was out and they got another brother to step in, dude. One brother out, one brother in. Mike Perry tags in for his boy, Mike Tyson. Another Mike, but this time it's Mike Platinum rather than Iron Mike. And I reckon this is going to be a great scrap. Now, I do think that Jake Paul's going to beat him, because Jake Paul is a lot larger than Mike Perry. He's not much larger than him, though. That does need to be mentioned, frame-wise. But Jake Paul's a lot larger, than Mike Perry. And he's just been bulking for Mike Tyson, whereas Mike Perry's been sort of keeping somewhat lean so he can fight these former lightweights at BKFC. So I know he fought Rockhold as well, but he just fought Thiago Alves, who is a welterweight. So he's been reasonably trim. He's not been bulking. He's not being prepared to fight a larger opponent. And I think that's where Jake Paul's probably going to win this. Plus, from what Mike Perry tells us, BKFC boxing is like a completely different style to regular boxing in the way that you throw punches. So don't be surprised if Perry ends up breaking a hand or something, punching weirdly. Or you know what I mean? There's just like, it's a different setup of boxing from the ground up to do PKFC than it is to just do boxing. So maybe that'll be a problem for Mike Perry. This is also quite short notice as well. He's only got, 5.5 weeks, 6 weeks before this fight is going to be going down. So I'm rooting for Mike Perry. I think he's had probably, if he does get to this fight and get the paycheck that he's definitely going to deserve, he's probably had one of the best post-UFC careers in history, which is insane because I never thought that was going to happen. I actually thought he was going to lose to that random guy that he fought in that triad combat thing, and I thought everything was going to be ruined after that. But he beat him. I think his surname was Seals or some shit like that. Beat him. Has won big fight since, is carrying an entire sport of BKFC, and now he's getting a Jake Paul call-up. So, rooting for Mike Perry. Hey, this brother's getting his credit score up one way or another, dude. Okay, and Jake Paul's next. That credit score's going to be looking real good after this one, dude. Mike Perry's in town, and I'm rooting for him to win. Although I do think Jake Paul probably will get this one done. I just think Perry's a little bit too hittable, and Jake Paul's just been preparing for Mike Tyson and been bulking up, and I think he's probably about 30 pounds bigger than him. So that's going to be a tough one. So rooting for Jake Paul. Rooting for Mike Perry. Fucking hell. I think Jake Paul's got it, though. We move on. Ariel Helwani's been yapping. Now, he's been yapping a lot. And when someone's yapping, you have to ask yourself, why are they yapping? That's always what you got to ask yourself. You got to think, what is the benefit of the yap? There's yapping afoot. But what is the benefit of it? That's the question. So latest on UFC 303. Do I do it all in Ariel's voice? Around this time last week. I'm not going to do the whole thing in Ariel's voice. It's a bit too much. Around this time last week, all the anxiety surrounding the UFC 303 main event seemed to dissipate. Or start to dissipate. By Wednesday, no more feelers about replacements were being sent out. All systems seemed to be a go again. By the way, no one else has any information on this other than Ariel. So, we'll see. Later in the week, Chandler did an interview with The Pivot about it being all good. If you don't know what The Pivot podcast is, basically Chandler did an interview with his sons, all grown up, about it being all good. And on Saturday, the UFC was promoting it again on the ABC Fight Night telecast. There was a scare about the fight being off, and the scare appeared to be no more. But since this morning, multiple sources are now saying feelers are being sent out again for June the 29th for a replacement and or new fights. In short, there seems to be pessimism all over again regarding the status of the UFC 303 main event. Actually, even more pessimism, it seems, than on Monday last week after the presser was cancelled at the last minute. Is this insurance, due diligence, emergency replacement mode? Remains to be seen. It's all developing again, but does not appear as though we are out of the woods either way just yet. More to come, and hopefully a more definitive answer one way or the other in short order. So, what Ariel said here is a whole lot of fucking nothing again. And it's starting to get a little bit annoying. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm starting to get annoyed at Ariel yapping and getting 3.2 million views for it because no one else has this information. There isn't another source coming out saying, I'm hearing this as well, you guys. It's just Ariel with this information, which makes me think, poor Ariel this is. The fact that Ariel's the only one getting information makes me think that they're intentionally giving Ariel information. Because I recently put up this tweet and people seem to agree with it, to say the least. I think they are bamboozling Ariel to the highest degree just to make him look like an absolute R-word during the entire build-up of McGregor versus Chandler. He's the only person reporting on this. No other little off-brand media members. Like, I also have a source like we normally get, right? We normally get this one guy comes out and Ariel reposts it and says, I have the same source, I heard the same thing. And, you know, everyone comes in and there's a conglomerate of these MMA media guys with these sources, okay? Ketchup, barbecue, mayo, whatever you want. They got them, and then they eventually all trickle them out together, but only Ariel's got these ones. And I'm really hoping that Dana's loosed the hunter on them, if you know what I'm saying. Because we know the real, who really wears the trousers behind the scenes at the UFC. That's Hunter, dude. So he's put Hunter on the hunt once again, and it's to embarrass Ariel Helwani. So that's all good in my opinion. Other than that, though, what was the other thing I wanted to talk about? Gilbert Burns versus Sean Brady, targeted to headline a UFC event on September the 7th. This is a tricky one. Gilbert Burns is very good, but there comes a time where these guys stop being as good. And I'm going to say it right now. I'd rather have seen Gilbert Burns get completely slept than the actual TKO that he took from JDM. I know he was looking good in the fight. Could have been 1-1 going into the third. JDM was up on damage in the third round, but when people like a fighter, they count grappling, and when they don't like a fighter, they don't count grappling, like you shouldn't, especially when it's just control time. But it was a very close fight. Everyone acts like Burns was dominating, though. Same way they act like Hafez dominated JDM. No damage counts for anything anymore. Either way, they're retarded. I don't know, dude. Burns took a lot of damage in that fight. That was a really bad stoppage, if anything. Like, if you look at the Cannonier fight and in the Burns-JDM fight, dude, he took so many unanswered shots on the ground. Elbows as well. Proper, vicious, powerful shots. Would I pick Brady to win? Because I think Burns is a little more snappy on the feet. Yes. Could I see Brady just making this a really grueling up against the cage grappling match where occasionally he gets a takedown? Also, yes, because I want to tell you one piece of evidence that does make me a little more confident in Brady than other people seem to be. A lot of people are saying easy one for Burns. Great matchup. Brady can't do anything on the ground and Burns is going to win. Listen. I watched Sean Brady neutralize Craig Jones in a grappling match. Nobody talks about that. I know that it was a cheap way of doing it, but it is a way of doing it. And it's a way of doing it that could win Brady an MMA fight against Gilbert Burns. I watched Sean Brady take down Craig Jones many times and then just stall out in full guard. In MMA, he's doing little punches to the head and body from that position, and he's keeping it for about 2 minutes before they maybe stand him back up. This guy knows how to not be submitted. That is important. It's not that he knows how to... He's not going to go down there and submit Gilbert Burns. Highly, highly doubt that. However, he knows what submissions are, and he knows how not to be submitted. So that's very, very beneficial for him in this fight. I reckon Brady can get this one done. I actually do believe in Sean Brady. I think he looked amazing against Kelvin Gastelum. And I think Burns would have a scrap with Kelvin Gastelum. He just sometimes gets into these scraps, makes it a bit more difficult than it needs to be. So I am going to maybe lean towards Sean Brady, but Burns could get it done and I'm rooting for him. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. To sum up, I'm filing a restraining order against this man. He won't stop talking about my body. Although they are nice comments, and I really do appreciate them. Shout out Dricus Du Plessis. He's going to go on to become the GOAT of the sport, 100%. The GOAT of combat, I would say. The GOAT of combat. We've also got Jake Paul, Mike Perry. Looking forward to it. Really rooting for Mike Perry here. Ariel may be yapping. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. And goodbye.